Yo guys, what's going on? This is John, Gamester81, and this is my experience hitting up Gameworks Arcade in Seattle, Washington. What's really cool about this visit was I was actually with a whole bunch of friends. This is the day before PAX, which is a big gaming convention if you guys don't know. And there's a whole bunch of fellow YouTube game reviewers that were there as well, which you'll probably see in the video and in future upcoming videos on my other channels. But this is at Gameworks. This is my fourth Gameworks I've been to in the country. But there's actually only 7 left, unfortunately. There used to be a whole bunch of Gameworks, but what's interesting about this Seattle location is that this is the first Gameworks that opened up in March 1997. It actually opened up the month of my birthday, and I remember living in Seattle in 97 and hitting up this exact arcade back then with some friends and being blown away. And it really hasn't changed much. Obviously, the games have changed. They've updated the games, but overall, the layout and everything is, for the most part, the same. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Gameworks, it's actually currently owned by Sega Sammy Holdings. Basically, Sega owns it currently, but it started off in '97 as kind of a joint venture between Sega Universal Studios and DreamWorks Studios, which was partially owned by Steven Spielberg. Unfortunately, in 2004, they filed bankruptcy. Again, in 2010, they filed bankruptcy. Arcades just aren't the same as they used to be, but this one was really packed. They had a special deal where if you pay $10, you get unlimited gaming. There's my buddy Jason Heine. Right behind him walking there is PeteDorr. In the lower level, you had a lot of the racing games. Right here, you had Initial D3. There's Sega Rally 3 as well. All these were in great shape, working conditions, which is nice. A lot of more modern games, racers and shooters. There's kind of a flight simulator. I didn't really get to check that out as much. But for $10 for unlimited gaming, this place was open until about 2 o'clock in the morning. It was really, really packed. And a lot of these people here were obviously attending the PAX convention. Daytona USA 2 is one of my favorite racing games. They had that, 3 of them all linked up, which is really neat. Behind that, they had a Hydro Thunder arcade cab by Midway. That's a fairly common cab I see every once in a while in arcades. Here's kind of an interesting racer too. They had a lot of racers here on the lower level. This is kind of a horizontal screen, very different, kind of a new one. Interesting controls. Here's a Super Bikes Fast and Furious by Raw Thrills. That's a new one. That's Super Bikes 2. There's Drift. That's a fun one as well. I really like this one. Super Bikes 2 is a really fun one, and it's yellow. I think the Super Bikes 1 is actually red, but a really fun multiplayer game for sure. They also have this area where it looked like at one time they sold merchandise, but they kind of put a whole bunch of music games, dance games in here. There are about 3 or 4 of them here. Pretty packed. At one point, it was really hard to actually play a game because it seemed like everyone was on something. There's Terminator Salvation. They have a huge one upstairs, which I'm going to show you later on the video, but that's a smaller one. This is all upstairs. There's all the shooters. House of the Dead 2 by Sega. It's a lot of fun. Amazing Storm. Primeval Hunt. Ghost Squad, Rambo. And here's a big Terminator Salvation. There's a huge monitor. I mean, it's a huge screen. It was really cool to see that. That's definitely unique. I've only seen that one other arcade that I've been to. Here's Pop-A-Shot. That seemed to always be popular. I love the Pop-A-Shot. And this is Dead Storm Pirates by Namco. It's a really fun one. Actually, you play the 3 players, one controlling the steering wheel. There's Terrence from Chargeback Forward.
Sonic Air Hockey.
Yeah, they definitely had a Sonic Hockey, which PeteDorr is a friend of mine and a fellow game reviewer here on YouTube. He's a big Sonic fan. This is all upstairs. There's a Let's Go Jungle. There's a Star Wars arcade in the corner. A lot of fun. Some more racers. It's kind of a weird shooting game there. Quick draw or something, quick cash, something like that. It's kind of interesting. Kind of a police simulator shooting game. The Sonic one was really interesting because it shot out, the air hockey shot out pucks too, so it was like multiple puck, which was really hit it. And there's LA machine guns. Here's kind of a row of classic. They had Robotron, Pac-Man, Galaga, Frogger. These are all retro games here, about 5 or 6 of them. It's like, I think it's Puzzle Bobble. They had a Namco museum kind of cabinet. There's Miss Pac-Man. It was set to slow play. I like the Miss Pac-Man when it's sped up. I prefer that anyway. Coming up on kind of the fighting section of the arcade. This is Sega Strike Fighter. That wasn't working. It was one of the few arcades that was not working. We're coming across some fighting games. Time Crisis 3. That's kind of almost like a 1942 arcade game. I'm not sure. It was a really interesting shooter. I forget the name of it, though. There's Time Crisis. They had a kind of a derby game. Didn't quite understand how that quite worked. I know the other gamers I've been to have had that before. Virtua Fighter 5, and then they had Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which is classic. Metal Slug 5, I believe that's what it was. And this is coming up on Street Fighter 4. This is a huge line. This is where everyone was really lined up. There's a Tekken. But anyway, this is I had a really fantastic time hanging out with my friends. It was awesome. Definitely check out Gameworks. Go on their website, gameworks.com, and find out if there's one near you. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you soon. Take care.